What up, Snapchat? So I'm almost done with finals. I got one more to do. So for my last final, I either have to do a 7-page essay on a film analysis or a video about American Indian history. So since I've been studying my ass off for the last week, this is how I feel. So today's goal is to have some fun and get out the house, stay away from the library, and go learn about American Indian history. So today's adventure is going to be here at Balboa Park, and I just moved to San Diego, so it's actually going to be my first time here. And we're gonna go find the Museum of Man, because they have a museum in there and apparently inside the Museum of Man there's a section that is about the history of the American Indians in California. This is called an Iwa. This is basically architecture of the Kumeyaay house, the typical Kumeyaay house. These are some of the toys the children would play with. And they actually make them too. This is an example of a doll. The Kumeyaay people also play with instruments. These are examples of flutes that they would make. Native American boys would have to learn how to hunt in the future, so this is an example of a miniature bow and arrow they would have to play with. Right behind me are some of the tools that the Kumeyaay people would use to smoke and to apply heat. The Kumeyaay people saw sickness as an evil inside your body, so they believed in smoking something to get rid of that illness. If you guys ever wonder what happened after you died, the Kumeyaay people actually believe that you go into this Milky Way after death. And it's actually interesting that I come across this because in class we've gone through so many films where in the movie the Native American would look to the sky and to the stars for answers, and they're pretty much talking to their ancestors. If you guys ever wonder how Native Indians get their body paint, this is what they use. And during ceremonies they would use these rattles. Is that a turtle shell? Native Americans are known for their art of basketry. Here are some of the Kumeyaay made baskets. And if you look closely, you can see how much detail and how much work they put into these baskets. This one has a deer. They also specialized in the art of pottery. Look how big this one is. Check out these Indian-made weapons. We got the fine bow and arrow here, sharp arrowheads. Check out this quiver made to hold arrows. They made this out of a raccoon. It's awesome. So I actually just met Kathy. She's a staff member here at the museum. Tell us some interesting facts about the Kumeyaay people today.
So the Kumeyaay Kumeyaay have lived in this area of Southern California and northern Mexico for the last 12,000 years. So they've been around for a long time. And they're still here today, but I'm going to show you some of our objects that we have that kind of looks at their history. So the Kumeyaay were traditionally hunters and gatherers, so they would migrate across all of San Diego County. So they would spend part of the year in the ocean, and then in the mountains, and then in the desert, all the way to the Salton Sea. So their span would be about 100 miles each direction, and they would know where to go different types of years, so they could harvest specific crops. One staple of their diet were acorns. So these are whole acorns, and you can't eat them in this state because they're full of tannic acid and it makes you really sick. They would deshell the acorns, and they would use a basket like this. They were master basket weavers, and they would flick them up in the air and allow the breeze to. And then once they were done with that process, they would soak them in water to help remove the tannins. Sometimes, depending on the type of acorn, it was up to a week of soaking. So then they would pound them using a mortar and pestle into a fine flour to turn them into food. On average, a Kumeyaay person would consume about 2,000 acorns every year. So this is obsidian, and it was found near the Salton Sea. This is a massive piece of obsidian, also known as volcanic rock. And they would turn obsidian into arrowheads and sometimes fishing hooks. This is made out of abalone shell. Besides being collectors, they were also hunters. So this is called a rabbit stick.
Looks like a boomerang.
It does look like a boomerang. And with the rabbit stick, they would hunt mostly rabbits and other small woodland creatures. Right here. And here we have some rabbit fur, and they would use this for clothing and blankets and storage for their goods. They would also use bow and arrows for hunting for larger game, mostly deer and bush cats.
Hey, Kathy.
You're welcome. Be sure to come to the Museum of Man and learn more about the Kumeyaay and what they did with chia seeds.
Well, that's it for today at Balboa Park. I hope you guys learned something. I'm sure now I'm gonna go tour the rest of this park. It's actually open 24/7, so I highly recommend everyone to come visit Balboa Park someday.